Okay, so just again, I like to explain how I play so that and please don't laugh. No, I'm just joking. I When I started playing using like grids and the Ultimate Golf Guide or whatever you call it, I wasn't sure how to count rings, so I just kind of invented my own way of playing, and it kind of works. So it's some of it is kind of like how does that work, and I wish I can explain it to you, but it just does. But I always talk about my setup. My setup is very consistent. So anyway, so the first thing I do is to get into the Orion range because obviously I prefer that. As you can see, I have all my grids, so I try to hit it. Let me just hold on. Let me see if I can. Two. I just want my grid to not be dim, but if you can see it, I
Yeah,
try
yeah, we can
to.
see it all right.
Okay, perfect. I try to have my the line that runs between 51 and 52. I don't know if you can see that.
Yep,
On
on
the
the pin.
flag. Yep.
Yep.
And then my goal is to get the shot view or the shot. And again, with the RB, you got to take into consideration some rollout. I want to get it somewhere between 58 and 59, ideally. So kind of
Okay,
where it
so
is right now.
about 3/4 of your screen width.
Yeah, I'm on an iOS, so yeah,
Okay.
iPhone 11 for context. And
But
yeah,
you're
so I
you're
want
you're going you're going to like you are you going to like max Orion? Are you going to like 80% Orion? Like what's your
so,
goal?
so my goal, yeah. So okay, again to take a step back, the way because I didn't know how to count rings, and that part confused me in the beginning. If I go into the ultimate guide, the way I break it down, and this will be in context of, so I try to actually aim for about to land between 50 to 75%
Oh wow,
of
that's
the
short, man. Okay.
yeah, like, and it's just because of the way I play, I've learned to it,
Yeah.
and I find Ryan actually, and I don't know what it is, and I've had numerous discussions with members like in my old club about why, and I find that the secondary effects are very minimal with the Orion, and maybe it's the angle it comes in at. I wish, or maybe because I put so much. Backspin, I don't really have a rollout except for a tailwind, but I'll walk you through it. But the way I break it down is, at the top you have min, mid, max, those three numbers at the top.
Yep.
I kind of break it down into like almost like 12.5%. So if I put in, let's say, 3.5 wind, right, you have numbers here. So between the min and the max, there's 5.8 would get us like to me, that's a quarter. And then, 3/4 would be 6.4. And
Yep.
then
Okay, I'm with you.
so that's kind of how I like think when I use the app and when I use the Orion. And so I can get, if I find that I'm sort of in between like a half and a quarter, I'll pull 6.2, and I'll explain how I do that and in what situations. But so my goal is to try to get it at least to the mid to or closer to, but I don't want to be at max, because if I'm at max, then if it's a headwind, I can't play with my method. So I would have to switch to the Spectre, which I'm okay with, and my method still works, but it's not as reliable for whatever reason.
Okay.
Maybe it is the secondary effect. Okay. Anyway, so that's enough. So my goal, anyways, back to here. And just from experience, there's a headwind here. Well, a little bit if it goes like that. So yeah, that should be okay. I'm just gonna hit it. And then
And again, you said you're trying to get into that 50 to 75%
correct.
Orion range.
Yeah. And here's the part where you guys are gonna be dumbfounded when I explain to you how I measure. Because again, I didn't use I don't use like rings. So what I do is and how I measure it. Oh, this is a cross one. This is a good one to like walk through. Um, I'll put a full backspin and I'll move it. I'll zoom in a little bit more, but I'll move it to the point where, so here's the min, and then I'll use the ball guide as my reference point. So I essentially use my thumb on my left hand and kind of put it where the ball is, and I use that as the guide, and then I move it up to the mitt, and I use my index finger. I know this is not the most reliable way, but
Okay.
if like that, this is it's worked for me, and like I'm not. If there's a better way to know it more exactly, then feel free to use it. But this is kind of how I did it. So based on where it is now, based on in between my fingers from the bottom of the ball to where the max was, I would say we were literally like where I'd love to be, 75%.
Okay.
Okay, so that's kind of, again, you can't visualize it, but that's really what I do. I move. And then with a crosswind, like this is a pure crosswind. I just want to see it. So, so this is, a little tricky. So this is going to be a little bit, the way I would play this is a little bit different than if you read what I wrote. But the reason why I say that is because even with one bar of backspin off, everyone can see that on the shot view, there is a backspin. So
Yep.
if there wasn't a backspin, the way I would literally line it up is something like, well, so you can't see it, but I would try to get the tip of the shot view, imagine, and have the shot view as straight as possible, in line with the pin. But because there's
And you're
yeah,
always doing this with one bar of backspin removed?
yeah, 1 to 2, and the way I judge that is based on how, and this is how kind of like thick the last line is between the shot and this. So to me, and this is again, and this is just experience and things that I witnessed, not necessarily like proven fact, but if it's very thin, it's going to come in and kind of almost die. If it's a thicker line, it's going to come in faster and hotter. So if it's going to come in faster and hotter, I'll do 1.5. If it's going to be and this is not an example because of the backspin, but imagine you were looking at that shot view line, and if it's very thin, then I'll just use 1 bar.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. And then in this case, because I can see with 1 bar backspin, I put the shot view right in the center of the hole, because of the backspin and because I know this hole, and I mean you can't really see it, but there is enough elevation. So here, let me just line up my shot view, and then with 1 bar backspin off, and then I'm going to apply it.
So you're basically putting that first bounce in the cup.
Yeah, only because I know it's literally, so when I put the full backspin in, I'm still just enough past the hole, and I still can, again, my ultimate goal would be to bounce it into the hole on my first. But one thing I've learned is with the Orion, if you miss on the in, if you've seen some of my, you got to get lucky, but I don't feel it's lucky. Just I've learned that it works is that you get it on the backspin, right? So you
That's, I
almost
mean,
have,
that's the nice
you
thing
almost
about these backspin shots is if you've got a good line, you've got almost two chances to get it, right? One on the way in and one on the way back.
exactly, and the Orion plays perfectly to that. And I struggle with, I feel like you can't do that with any other club. Maybe a little bit with the Spectre, but I don't play it that well. Um, so anyway, so that's kind of my setup. And then going back here, it's a big number, but I because we know it's 75%, I'm confident I'd pull 7.8, right, rings. And
Yep.
so for context, how I line up, obviously I try to get the line in the bottom. So hold on, let me see if I can get my come back. There we go. So you can see the 2 little triangles in the bottom of my arrow is aligned, and then I'll use the line between 5 and 6. And then again, I just got on this context that and I hope I don't mess anyone up. So don't change your game. But just so you understand how I'm counting my rings, I use gray as 0.9 and the white rings as 1.1 in my calculations. Okay. Okay. So just for context. So I'm using the line between the 50s and 60s because I'm just zooming out, and that's 8.2. So that's 8.1, 8, 7.9, and then 9. Let's do that. Mhm.
Be good.
Yeah, I'm a little nervous, obviously. Oh,
At 10.
oh,
Oh,
oh. But anyways, yeah.
yeah, no,
Oh,
dude, that's great.
and then okay, like I'm not making any excuses. That's not what I do. But um, if I was playing in a competitive round where I want to do really really well, I try to get my Orion number between. I seem to do really well around 3.5 to 3.9. I 4.3 was a little high, and I'm not making any excuses, but usually I would switch balls to another ball that would be a
Yeah.
same 10 power, but I would try to get something under 4, and then I don't like I don't like ball. I don't like to play the Orion with a under 3 ball because I do feel like it messes with my bounce, with my setup.
I
That's
mean,
it.
there's one thing that I think everyone comes to sort of realize in this game is that the more variables you can take out of the equation, the better. So if you're hitting, to 75% every time, and you're hitting with the 3.5 wind, plus or minus zero point 0.2 every time, that's going to make it a lot easier to replicate over and over and over again. If you're hitting, a 20% versus a 90% Orion, or you're hitting a 3 wind or a 4.5 wind, right? That's going to make things a lot more challenging. So having that consistent approach, whatever it is, I think is the most important thing you can do.
Yeah, and I struggle. It's funny. Everyone's like, "How do you struggle with the Bigfoot?" That actually, so for more context for those online is my progressions are go to Orion. If I miss the Orion, hope you can still hit the Spectre. If you can hit the Spectre, then go to the LR. Right. So that's my progressions, and then obviously like I'm okay with Hellfire. Again, I'm gonna play this one, guys, really quickly because I want to go to the next hole. So nothing fancy here. I mean, this is a pure headwind. I would just line this up.
Right?
Yeah, nothing fancy.
Is it
And
we
I'm
can
a
we can
prof-
play along at home.
well, and yeah, sorry, I shouldn't waste my time.
Because
I shouldn't waste your time
no,
watching.
dude, it's not a waste. We're learning together.
Yeah.
It's interesting that you like Orion has sort of just become your thing, and that you found consistency with it, because like I think everyone, like, that's the only club I use in Royales, and I can eyeball it, close enough for Royale purposes, but in tournament I am so erratic with it, and I've found myself preferring Spectre when I have to use a short iron, but for me it's Bigfoot then Root are like the two clubs that I want to use. Nice shot. There you go. See, look, you weren't even trying and you make one.
It's always embarrassing when I do that. I'm so sorry. I swear to God. I mean, I aimed it. I went through most of my progressions there, but I didn't actually measure the distance. I just picked the max because, again,
It was
more
pretty close.
experience than yeah, more experience than anything, right? So,
That's
uh,
hilarious.
yeah.
Can I
Obviously,
ask a
when you
question?
yeah, of course, of course,
Sorry, it's Miyagi here. G'day, Mike. Good to speak, mate.
of course.
There's not gonna be a big hole elevation on this 9. So what do you do differently on, say, I think it's Wolf Creek 15 with that big Orion par 3 that drops
The
down?
downhill one.
Yeah. So so that one is more experience. If it's a pure tailwind, when I do my setup, so as an example, I actually struggle with that hole. But if it's a headwind or tailwind, I'm pretty confident because I've the way I learned. But I take 2 bars of, so if I would apply 4 bars of backspin
Yep.
on the Orion on a tailwind, so like I would line up my shot normally. I take 4 bars of backspin off, and then I would hit it to that distance. Sorry, apply the backspin. Normally, I in that hole, I would literally take 2 bars of backspin off because you need that rollout. I don't find this for the crosswind might not play too much on Orion, and that's what I mean by secondary. But obviously, with
Yep.
the drop, it really stops the ball. I find, and yeah, you need more rollout on that.
Okay, yeah.
That
I was just I was
yeah.
I was particularly curious about the crosswind scenario. What do you add or take away to the guide app numbers, if
Yeah,
anything?
so I've been messing around with it for a long time, just trying to find, for elevated greens, and when there's like less elevation, I guess, or when the other green is below elevation. Um,
Yep.
I find, like, I guess, what's a good example? Like here, I think this is a good example. So anything like around this. This is might be a good example.
Yep.
If the top of the pin is around time remaining in the bottom of the picture of the avatar of the club, I kind of think that that's kind of round elevation. But I don't know. I try I have a struggle where I overplay it, obviously, so I end up over pulling it. When things like that.
So,
Uh,
so on this particular one, on the guide, I change elevation to +2%.
so I take off one ring. That's what I would do in this one,
Okay,
basically.
so you don't mess with the guide. You just make your
No, yeah, yeah,
adjustment. Yeah.
exactly. More from experience. Like I
Yeah. Okay.
and I yeah, yeah, and again, completely transparent. The way like Shartsy made a point. It's like, how did you start with Orion? Well, I thought the point of the game was hit it and drive it as far as you can. I didn't realize that,
We
but
all did. We all did. Yeah.
yeah, like, but I didn't realize that the optimal strategy was to hit it to the Bigfoot range, right? It wasn't like and then because I kept hitting to the Orion range, I realized, and it was one of my clubs that I upgraded first. I had full backspin or almost full backspin on it, so I felt like I was able to control it the most, and
Yep.
hence that's where the kind of the journey
Yep.
started. So here's a perfect example of a crosswind, and so, so you can see this is a good example where I feel like the shot view is very thin, so I wouldn't put more than one bar of backspin, and then I would just try to. Oh, you know what? I'm sorry, guys. I'm showing you the shot view, but I have no context of the distance. Sorry. So
Radar
again,
is 25% again. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Wow, it's like you can see where my fingers are. Yeah, so that's just, I'm actually very scared.
Do watch your sees everything.
Yeah. So,
It's one thing playing a lot of T Royales that I've gotten good at. It's just eyeballing distances.
Yeah. Don't feel nervous, Mike. You're getting it far closer than any of us get this Orion. So even if you miss it.
oh yeah, I'm not nervous. I don't know what it is. I'm happy. I'm actually excited just to talk to people, and I'm a like again Miyagi. It's funny, like, to me, obviously you're a normal human being, but like I'm in awe just the fact that you're talking to me. So that's where I'm more excited, to be honest with you, because I'm obviously big fan of your game. So anyways, one day maybe you'll teach me how to use the Bigfoot.
Absolutely, no problem.
So okay, so here's a good example. So 6.8 to 7.7. That's 9.9. Halfway would probably would obviously wouldn't work. So because of the elevation, so this is where I would pull probably around 7.2 maybe, and just get it below the halfway point for the crossway.
Halfway between 6.8 and 7.7 puts you at about what? Yeah,
7.2.5, right?
7.25.
Yeah.
And you're saying you're gonna take one ring, or sorry, 0.1 rings off of that, so about 7.15 is sort of what you're thinking.
Yeah, yeah, and then I might add it back in because, again, like, just looking at the elevation here, it's a lot, but it's not too much, and I always end up, yeah. And again, I have a feeling if I underplay it a little, if I
Mm.
underpull it, right? Oh, should get it. Okay, yeah, like I would probably pull 7.2 here. I'd feel comfortable at 7.2, just based on the way I play. How about that? Does that
Yep.
make sense?
But
I hope I'm not wrong.
you're taking a little bit off of what the
Yeah,
calculation's saying because of that added elevation.
correct. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So just curious, like with these size of ring pulls that you'll come up with, you'll quite often fall into bunkers and stuff like that in your pool.
Yeah, yeah.
Not in this
Not in
one,
this,
but
yeah. In that case, yeah. Then I would try to, adjust for that a little bit. Again,
okay, yeah,
depending on the steep drop, then I would take off a little bit less, right? Like maybe again, point a ring. That's just the way I think.
that's just a gut feel, right?
Exactly, exactly. Again, that's gonna go in. Oh my goodness!
Oh,
I got a little cocky there.
Good. I mean, that is one of the risks or the dangers of some of these clubs with larger pools. The lightning
mm,
rods, the Orions, and that's one of the reasons why at least for me, Spectres being like if I have to use a short iron, Spectres you're typically only pulling like 3.5 rings tops. So,
but just as context, just for context, you're actually pulling more in distance with the Spectre versus the Orion. If you notice,
are bigger. It's true.
Yeah.
You're absolutely correct.
So again, that was an example where every shot is here. Well, it's a par 5, but I'll play this one relative. Watch me play this again relatively quick, and I get it in. But again, that pull was 7.2. I wouldn't be pulling 7.2 because I would have the wind around 3.8 again, give or take. Because that was 4.
Yeah,
I would have probably picked up a ball. So again, but if you look in terms of the size of the Orion rings, it's much more smaller. So you're actually not pulling as much.
Yeah,
so
you are correct.
Yeah. I didn't even. Oh man, that was terrible. Sorry guys, I wasn't even paying attention. It's okay.
I did that earlier in the Tournament of Champions. I started off so hot. I had eagle and an albatross to start, and then the third hole, I think the third hole, I put it in the rough on the par 5, no, fourth hole, and I ended up with a birdie. Still made a 13 under, and I'm sitting in 4th place, but I'd be in first if I hadn't fucked it up. So it happens.
I like to also think I'm really good, but I just assume a lot of people
this hole. It was the hole you're playing right now that I fucked up.
Oh yeah,
same as you. Yeah.
So I don't know if everyone here knows how to play Hive or like they consider themselves Hive expert, but I'd like to think I'm pretty good. So this is how I play a Hive. So I line it up, literally put the tip in the hole. Sorry, I'm all about putting tips in holes.
Absolutely.
So this to me is a non-adjust Hive. So again, nothing really fancy. This is
straight in.
This is 0.1. This is 0.2. When you zoom out all the way, this is 0.3, give or take. It's not straight here, but just where my text would be in my avatar. That's 3. Pretty confident.
Yeah, sort of where the ring in the avatar sort of
so
spaced out, kind of gives you a sense.
So yeah, that's pretty much, and it's pretty confident that. I mean, this was not because I checked, but if you didn't know, that's how you check if you're out of the no adjust chip.
Yeah, absolutely.
What was this? I don't remember this part. I thought there was more. Oh man. Yeah, see, I use Pegasus for head-to-head or
Pegasus. That's Trux's club of choice, but I can't do it.
No, this is a tough. Again, not in tournament. Yeah, I can't because I need to see the rollout and
So, Amelia, you're just going to put that downhill par 3 at Wolf Creek. The other day, Banger shared his tip, which was with Orion on that hole. Take off 18% on your calculation on the front pin location, and -6% on the back pin location.
Is that? I assume that's on a flat calculation for a flat track, right?
Yes. So like if you just did the calculation on a flat shot and then 18% off of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I did that. I had a tailwind, and I got the drop, and then Banger posted a video with a side wind, and he got the drop. So that I posted on the dude's channel as well, his video. So it seemed pretty nice. 18% for the front, 6% for the back.
sorry,
I've used Interceptor's 1.3 divided by 1.3 for the Spectre pretty successfully since he mentioned that.
Wind divided by 1.3.
Yeah, but that's only particularly for that hole, right? So.
Right.
Okay,
yeah, I haven't hit Spectre on that hole in ages. But yeah, I mean, I find with Wolf Creek especially, you gotta have like the knowledge of what you're doing on basically every hole because there's just so much elevation.
I'm
Yeah,
teaching.
it's almost bespoke numbers. So
Yeah, yeah. No app is ever gonna like tell you what to do unless you've got sort of those
but
percentages worked out.
but for you and everyone else listening, the bit of advice I gave the other day, uh, where rule of thumb is double or triple your adjustment depending on whether it's 2 or 3% elevation, uh, works very well. To be honest, for a rule of thumb.
So on your setup, like you're talking about your offset on the hole, or you're talking about
Uh,
something
so
else.
everyone sets up differently depending on the calculation numbers they use, but um, you will make an adjustment. Either put it on the whole edge or a cup and a half this way or that way, right? Do
Right.
that. Do that as if it's a flat hole, but then double it if it's 2%. So like a lot of those sedge filled par fours are uphill about 2% in my opinion.
Yeah.
And holes like the first par five on Wolf Creek, I use 3% on that, so I triple that adjustment on a hole like that, and I get pretty
He's
close
on that. Interesting.
already. Yep.
Interesting. So basically, eyeball that elevation change. You've got a sense of what those are, but you can sort of in the 2, 3, 4% range,
Yep.
and then sort of exaggerate your offset based on that.
Exactly. Yep.
Right on. Mike, you're setting up your Orion. Do you want to tell
Yeah,
us what
yeah,
you're doing?
yeah, of course, of course. I'm just done. So I measured about 75% again, just pretty consistent. So I'm actually happy. So this is a tricky shot. Again, I wish everything looked like this on an arrow, like forward, backwards, and side to side. Anything like this is, where just experience comes into play. So I find if the arrow was a little bit more like this, I would take about 3 bars of backspin. Imagine, obviously, this is 1 bar of backspin, about 2 bars of backspin. So imagine, can you guys see it when we're referring to where my wind mile per hour is?
Yep.
So like if it was flat, imagine, forget about just imagine I'm looking at a straightaway, and this is where I want to hit straight. This is 1 bar. I would take off 2 bars, probably about 3 bars, and then with this one, I would go with the 4 bars. But because of the tailwind, this is the only shot in general. There is another a tailwind shot that I kind of set up a little bit differently. Most of my other shots are just straight towards the pin, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But this one, I do like to set up a little bit on the, outside of the cup. So let the
Right.
wind take it
Account
toward.
accounting for that wind push.
Exactly. Like for others, if it was a little bit less wind, like if it looked more like this, I would almost set it up. But when you get to, this kind of range, I would just from experience set it up.
So
Um,
you're treating this basically as a pure tailwind, is what you're saying.
yeah, 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 exactly. But from experience for the push, I would
Right.
yeah, just move it to the left side in this case of the cup. And again,
And
I've
and and sorry to interrupt, but just sort of to go back to what Melody was saying before, if this were, in his experience, a uphill 2%, 3%, he would double or triple that offset that you're applying there on a relatively flat shot.
Look, I mean, that's for Bigfoot and the
True.
woods, not necessarily Orion. So.
True.
yeah, the one thing I can say, the way for my I don't know method and my setup for Orion, I find you can, for headwind or pure tailwind, you can ignore secondary effect. It's weird.
Mm.
You just, yeah, like I don't. The only
Yeah.
times that I find that it really is like a really big drop, like you mentioned, the Wolf Creek whole part to par three. That one you just have to take bars of backspin, and you have to play the green as well. Sometimes the green has a huge slope, so you gotta take a
Yep.
bar of backspin and just to get it to the hole. Um, but like in this case, this is kind of a little bit too far. Sorry, let me get it set up. But yeah, and keep talking. Yeah, you're not something like that.
Now, are you worried about that little kick to the left on the tail of your shot?
I see what you're saying right here. Mm,
So you're just kind of combing around and looking for the
Yeah,
slope, right?
it looks okay. Like and like
Okay.
I'm
I'm just curious. Just
yeah,
curious.
yeah. Hmm, Again, oh, okay. I'm gonna put the full backspin on again. The only problem is I wasn't looking. Sorry. And again,
No,
I just
I saw you rolled your side spin a little bit there. I saw it.
this way. Yeah, like I don't. That's the one thing about this. I don't know if it's the phone or sensitivity. Just it moves. It drives me nuts. Okay, perfect. I'm okay with that. So I'm gonna be short. It's like when you're gonna be short, but you're still stubborn.
Yeah.
Here's my rule of thumb for this. If the
If it
backspin is
switches.
yeah, can you hear? I don't know if you can hear me, but if the backspin is less than like around this much, I kind of ignore it. If you see the shot view with the backspin going all the way back almost to the shot, you know how you can see it, then I start adjusting for it. But it's like I have a feeling I'm going to be short. But with the tailwind, I'm gonna ignore it. I'm gonna ignore it. You're gonna laugh at me because I don't want to do that. Whoops.
54 ring adjustment. Let's go.
Yeah. So yeah, and the way I do like headwind and tailwind. So it's just because I played around with the numbers. So if I am at, in this case, a quarter of the way, which would have been 7.6,
Yep.
I actually pull a quarter less, so 7.1. And then if I'm in a headwind situation, I would put my second balance in the shot view. If I'm 75%, I pull 8.1. Okay, so in this case, I'm going to
Interesting.
pull 7.1. And again, it's just because I didn't have any context, so I would just take a shot, see, okay, I have a pure tailwind. Okay, if I pull a four, and then this is literally how I learned how to play. I would take 2 bars of backspin off, hit, I went too far. I'm like, okay, take less. Okay, try to
Yep.
pull less.
Yep.
And literally that's how
All
I
trial and error for sure.
exactly, yeah, yeah. Like there was no, and that's kind of how I think. So it's hard for me to like take a formula and just plug it in. I feel like I'm lost with that, you know. Anyways, so I really want to make one shot to like tell you guys I'm not incompetent, and okay, and if I'm short, you can yell at like just listen to your gut. I'm just impressed that I'm hitting ultimate shot with so many people on the stream. Get back, get back, get
Get
back.
up there. Get
Oh
up
mother!
there. You
Everything.
knew it. You knew you were going to be short.
It's just yeah, yeah, it's annoying. It's frustrating.
I mean, it's not if we could all drop every shot on command. I mean, we'd be in Miyagi basically,
Yes,
but we're not. So
I'm
This
not
this is
complaining. Yeah,
this
go
is
ahead.
good practice for the finals, Mike.
Yeah, yeah. I've been fortunate to play once, so I'm happy. I was nervous as hell for that. Holy smokes! And I'm glad in hindsight, I'm glad we lost to you guys, if anyone.
Yeah, you lost to Interceptor
Intercepted.
on fire. Unlucky.
Yeah, no,
he got it
that
either for sure.
I was kicking myself for 2 shots that I just wouldn't like. I rushed them, and and I knew that
Yeah,
hole had a downhill, and I forgot about the downhill in that moment. And I still remember it obviously. And then the shot before that, when I tried to drive the green with the DX, I knew it breaks to the right, and I still didn't play it. It was one of those moments, and my
yeah.
mind rolled off the green, and he was on the green, so he was able to win, which fair. No, no.
It
Yeah,
was
absolutely.
it was a great journey, man. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Oh, I had so much fun.
You guys played great, and it honestly could have gone either way.
Exactly.
I hope I can make. I hope I can make it to the. Oh, sorry. Yeah, so I have a feeling that I might not be able to get there, but I don't want to overpower him. Okay, but a little bit. Yeah, you guys didn't see that turn. If I turn my phone sideways, will it stay straight? Okay, good.
Yeah, looks like it.
Okay. Hopefully, it gives me like a headwind. Please, headwind. The ultimate golf gods are really challenging me. Okay. So in this case, again, with this, it's a crosswind with a tailwind component. I would take 2 bars of
You're at about 45, sort of 45, like it's 45 degrees
yeah,
or so, right? So two
yeah,
bars.
maybe like see, I start questioning myself between 2 and 3, but I think 3 is going to be too much. I'll go with I'll go with 2 and then second guess myself. So in this case, I'm halfway, 50%. Yeah, about uh, same elevation. Yeah, one of the things obviously I try is to have a straight shot.
Absolutely, I think it's the most important thing you can do.
So there's a little, I guess, downhill here somewhere, and I want to just hit that. Okay. Gotta get one for you guys. So in this case, I'm just going to pull 6.5. Fingers crossed. Or I'm going to be just smoke. I can't believe I hit another ultimate. This better go in. Oh, this is going to be close. Didn't backspin either. Sorry, guys. I'm like letting you guys down.
It's the approach, and the results come after, right? And I mean, I think you've demonstrated that you can you don't have to apologize for making your shots. Is what I'm saying. Like it's about the approach, right? And I think people are definitely interested in, like, I've never seen someone play with sort of this much back and topspin sort of adjustments before, and it's super interesting to me.
Yeah, no, I'm. Oh man, I hate like everything is tailwind with the crosswind component. Yeah, this one again. I fingers crossed. I'm not gonna lie. I don't wouldn't I wouldn't have much confidence. I mean, I'd play a different ball. Let's say. Hmm. Yeah, that's how I work. I work with the LR. I do the very similar. I just take bars of backspin off. So with this tailwind, I'm going to take 2 bars, and I measured like 87 and a quarter, I guess, to the backs. So not 75%, just a little bit more. So the way I would play it, and again, I do okay with the LR, but I'm more comfortable with again more direct, perfect headwind. For LR complete transparency, I would use like a ball that try to get me under 3%, so like 2.9 to 2.5. So just the way I would play it.
Window three, I mean,
Sorry, under point. Yeah, under 3. Sorry.
it's slightly around. Definitely hates wind.
Mhm. That was the first one. And this is the one that's gonna drop. Watch now. Oh no, just can't find it.
Sure.
Yeah,
I'm
no.
wondering if you have a replay on the Ultimate Pass tourney on Latrobe, if you wouldn't mind playing the first hole with
Yeah,
Orion.
yeah,
Because
yeah, yeah.
that one's going to have a bit of elevation to it as well. It'd be interesting just to see your approach on that as sort of maybe the
Sure.
last hole you could do for us tonight.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Let me just see. I just want to be curious what kind of wind I'll get. Oh, maybe I'll get a headwind here. Hold on, hold on. Let me just, if you don't mind, and then I don't mind. If no one's in
No,
a rush,
good.
I won't even hit this one if it's not um, a headwind or something. Or just show you how I would set it up.
Hey, Sharty.
Yeah.
There was a par three in one of the tournaments today that was an Orion shot. Do you remember which one that was?
I think it's the first hole on Latrobe on the Ultimate Pass tourney.
Yeah, yeah, I'll go there next. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think you're right. And there's one the Princess Himalaya had one too, but I missed. I don't want to talk about that one. I think it had one too.
Yeah, I made that one with Spectre earlier today, but yeah, it's like
Okay.
the fifth or sixth hole, I think.
The ultimate gods don't want to give me anything fun. Yeah, so this is crosswind, one bar. I'm not going to play it. I'll go to the Latrobe.
If I'm remembering correctly, the first hole is a short iron. I don't remember for sure though. Oh, actually, you know what? I think I'm lying. I think the first hole in this one is a driver, which may not be the one I'm thinking of. It might be the fourth hole.
Well, when I play there quickly, I can play there.
Let's have a look, because I think just Latrobe in general offers some different looks than Rampart does. Rampart's a
Yeah,
lot flatter.
yeah, like this one I would hit. Anyone want to see a holy driver? Like I'm pretty. Again, I say that and then I watch me miss, but this is
Do it.
Yeah,
Holy driver for sure is the club of choice.
Yeah, so yeah, for holy driver, I try to get rid of the hellfire just to get it out of my shot.
I think you need to get it out of your way. Yeah.
So yeah, we're at the bottom. So I'm gonna try to put some backspin on just because I want more the way again I play. I want more room to. Can't remember how I played this one now, and I dropped this one. I'm not gonna lie. I think I did. I'm pretty confident.
I ended up short, I think.
Yeah.
Because it's quite the thing with Latrobe is so many of the greens slope quite severely from front to back, so you really need to sort of stay closer than you think on a lot of these holes.
Okay with that. So I just with holy driver in general, I just line up the tip of the shot view right in the hole, and then with this hole we know that it is a severe drop, so you got to play for elevation. The way I play for elevation, I offset it towards the cup. So in this case, offset it towards the left side of the cup. Sorry, I was gonna say right. Time for smoking. No, I'm just joking. It's so cold today. Forget it. Sorry.
This one's tricky too with Holy Driver because the shot view doesn't sort of look the way it normally does with this club. Like it's so
Yeah, yeah.
compressed because
Well, I
this
compress it.
green slopes so severely to the back.
Sorry, I don't pay for this. So.
Oh, we get to watch an ad.
Yeah, it's gonna give me.
والله العظيم انا
Sorry.
الاسلام
No, it's
That's not
all
what I
good.
expected.
الحمد لله هلا يعني انا ما شفت افضل.
I don't
Only
know what
5
that
seconds. We'll survive.
God. Sorry. 4.1. So here's my thought process in this whole because of the downhill, we're going to need more of a roll up. If this was a pure wind, pretty flat elevation, like I would actually for a tailwind just take one bar off of backspin. In this case, I'm not. Okay, that's basically the justification, and then I'm going to pull 3.6 because again, the just from experience.
Yeah, you're pretty close to minimum, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Try to get better. One time. Oh, I should have put the backspin on. Every time today. Oh, no one saw that. That was close. I had everything. So frustrating. Thank God my first playthrough was actually pretty good.
Did I see the 18 there?
Sorry, no, I
Was
shot
it
16. All 16 today.
16?
Yeah. All
Nothing
16.
wrong with that.
No, Wonka was making fun of me because I kept only dropping the odd holes. So I was allergic today to the even
To
holes.
the evens, yeah.
Yeah, it's funny how that goes. I don't even know, what the psychology would be like. I'm trying to get them all in, I swear.
I'm not gonna lie that so I ate that hash infused chocolate, about 5 milligrams of it earlier. Absolutely delicious, but it's starting to kick in, and it is very heady.
Mm, Okay, this is a shot that I'm pretty confident, and hopefully I can get it in. So this is a pure tailwind. So and this one has a little bit of a like I've learned from experience, and I'm not sure what the logic is behind this, but well, the way I think about it and the way I justify it in my own head is that because it's uphill. So again, I'm at exactly 3/4 of the way.
It's
Perfect.
75% every time. Again,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
that consistent approach, right? You're putting yourself in a similar position every single time.
No. Definitely that's always the goal. When I put the full backspin in, obviously, so this is an example of where I will be taking an extra like a bar back off after I do my sort of alignment.
Just because
Because
it's
of
so
that. Oh yeah. You can really see it here, and my rule of thumb is if you can see it, then you have to play it. If you're not sure, you can almost get away with it or use your experience. But this one you can clearly you see how the backspin of the shot view is way past the hole, so you have to take it into account.
Yeah, well,
Um,
just from that side view, you can see how much further uphill the cup is from where the ball
ex-
wants to land.
exactly, and then the trick that I have also that I find and is like this again. We're talking to Miyagi. You still on the call? No. Okay.
I think he is. He might just be muted.
Okay.
He is on the
And
call. He's muted.
Yes. Sorry, I just finished the phone call. I'm
no,
back
no,
now.
yeah, no, it's all good. It's all good. So this one again is an elevated a green, or the way that I would play it is elevated again, and the way I typically tell is, looking at the tip of and seeing how far it is above the time remaining and towards
Yep.
the avatar of the shot view. So because it's uphill, it's going to land on the ground sooner than expected. And what happens is if you wonder why you maybe miss on a headwind, let's say with a tailwind one way or another. Sorry, a little bit of a crosswind one way or another is because the elevation and so what I always do on a shot like this is I actually set it up on opposites, just again, depending on how severe it is, just enough on the other side of the flag
Mhm.
stick. Again, this is the other example. So the first time where I don't set it up is on a tailwind has crosswind component. Might set it up, and then this is the other example. And if it's
You're at full right now. You're at full backspin, and you've got that first bounce into the cup.
yeah, or I call it the second bounce, but yes.
Yes.
So the first bounce here, and then yeah. So it looks good to me. It looks like it's in the hole. It's a little bit left of the hole. Right. Sorry, left of the flag stick. Sorry, and then
Yep.
and then when we look, it's it's a nice headwind here, just like what we thought. And here's where I hope I let you guys down. I might not sleep tonight, guys. I'm gonna be like telling my wife they're gonna kick me out. Sorry.
Hell no, man. You got way more to teach us.
I want to drop one for you guys. Okay, here. This is it. Okay, so we're gonna pull stuff.
So that was 6.3 to 7.1. So 6.7 is your 75%.
Yes, yeah. So 6.7 would have been yeah. So I'm gonna pull 7.1 because I'm again experience. It's in a
Right.
headwind.
So again, because the headwind, you go with the max pull.
Exactly. Yeah.
So 7.1.
And usually I can do this for like an hour. So again, in this case, normally I would take only one bar of backspin off as a standard. In this case, I'm going to take two because of that severe slope on the green. It's okay, guys. I have a good feeling. I have a good feeling about every hole. Oh, you.
Oh, he's right in.
So if that missed the flag, that would have spun back in, right?
Potentially, yeah, especially with the backspin. Yeah. And that's, I mean, usually with a headwind, I don't spin it in. You don't see me spin it in too much. It's a nice, just because of, again, I don't know what, kind of, the only thing I can think of is the only, and this is where it's weird. It's because, again, I'm playing uphill shots. So when it comes in, it should be a little bit hotter hitting the initial bounce. And hence maybe why it came in a little faster. Maybe I should have taken maybe half a bar of backspin off, like an extra half a bar. But anyways, that's kind of how I would play that hole.
Okay.
See you drop one.
Okay.
Hi guys.
I'm not going to be going to sleep tonight. Hey. This one.
I got a question for you on that last hole. I saw Interceptor setting it up the same way. If I've been doing it wrong, because I do the backspin, I put everything like past the pin, the pole, and try to get it to roll back in. You guys are setting it up before, right at the landing point, right at the hole.
Yeah.
So is it going to carry it or?
Well, the idea is that like in a perfect world, I want the shot to like roll in to the hole, right? And then if because of the backspin, if I miss, then there's the potential of it coming back. That's all. But yeah, I typically don't set up because they use use formulas and calculations. So they put where the tip is going to end, and then they calculate from there. I don't play that way, right? If that makes sense. Bueno.
No, it doesn't make sense because I just eyeball it.
Yeah, like if you're putting full backspin and yeah, then you're
Yes,
that's
yeah,
that's a starting point, I guess, right?
right. I just put the full backspin and then I like specter or whatever, and I set it up behind the pole.
It's sort
and
of
then,
for me it just sort of depends on the slope of the green and the wind direction. If I'm going to try to go front door or back door, you just try to look at what the best shot I can make is with a short iron. That's usually how I think of it.
right, because I saw Interceptor do it at Wolf Creek on that par 3, and I was like, "What the hell? What am I doing?" He put it front and then went behind the pin and came right back.
I mean, if
So
you sort of line up your shot and give it a chance both ways, then that's sort of double the chance, right? So if you're able to sort of align your shot view to give yourself a chance, going out the pin and then coming back, then all the better, right? But it really depends on what the shot view's telling you.
Okay. Is this a 1-to-1 poll or
0.7. So hold on a sec. I'll show you in one sec. Quick. Let me just do the poll and then I'll explain to you.
no? Go. Yeah. I'm sorry.
No. I'll explain to you how I got here. Okay, perfect. So if you zoom out, Quago, if the avatar is within the circle, it's no adjust. And then
Right.
depending on where the avatar ends, that's how you determine. So in this one, I did a 0.2 times the wind, just based on where, just from experience. Okay. And I think I just did the poll, so we're gonna go with that.
You did.
Oh man.
Should be
We're gonna
okay.
pretend.
It'll still go in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Making me nervous there for a second. I got an ego, guys. No, I'm just joking. I did
We're on
get
the
one.
next hole too.
Okay, I think this is the one. I hope so.
I think this is the Orion one. This is the one I was thinking of.
No.
Nope, it's not.
I know which one you're thinking of. You're on top of the hill and
I think that's on the
Yeah, I
back
could have
nine. Yeah.
sworn it was in this tournament.
Yeah, I think
yeah.
was it part of the Scrabble yesterday? So it was part of I
Yeah,
think it was part of the back
it's on
nine.
the Himalayas. There's a Orion par through there.
There was one there too. Yeah, today.
I could have sworn it was today. Maybe I'm just mixing up my
Which was the scramble? Was the it was the flight A ball comp anyway. 20.
I played everything yesterday here, so
Yeah. Maybe it wasn't Himalaya now that I'm thinking of it. Yeah, like there was a par 3 on the Himalaya course. Maybe that's what I'm thinking of. It's all good.
it's just interesting how everybody plays different.
Yeah, I mean, you watch someone play for 30 minutes, and you definitely pick up on little things, and we all have lots to learn from each other, and I can't count the number of really helpful tips that I've gotten from
Oh
all kinds of
yeah.
different people on the team.
Well, like Miyagi, when I watched his Sedgefield, and then he went to the other side of the pin, and he looked straight back at his avatar, and I'm like, "What's he
Mhm.
doing?" So, and now I understand it. I've improved, but I don't get a drop every time, but I've improved my tiebreaker points. So it helped out a
That's just
lot.
it. Turn the 870s into 890s into 898s and then into drops, right? And it just happens incrementally. You can't just push a button and get there. You have to understand why you're missing and how you're missing, and then you can fix it.
Yeah, I'm in the 890s now. I'm happy, a lot happier. So
Just wait.
Oh my god.
Oh,
That's typical
Well,
lightning rod.
Well,
Showtime,
yeah, go
Showtime. I
ahead.
came to watch your Orion drops, man. And why am I watching Lightning Rod?
Every other shot is not what I wanted. Yeah. Oh man, it's been
Yeah,
both.
he's not dropping those either.
Oh my god, there's not going to be any.
I'm
There's
only
not.
joking, man. It's Wonka here. I haven't
Hey,
spoken in a while. Hey, man, how's it going?
Yeah, there's not going to be any par fives here. There's not going to be any Orion shots on the next two.
All good, man. I'm only joking.
I'll play through those really quickly, guys.
can't you hit a driver then a little wedge shot into Orion range?
I'll be very confused after because I won't know how much from that point on. Do you know what I mean? Like I
Right.
know from the. Yeah,
You can almost get to Orion range from here.
Not quite because I usually end up laying it up around here, unless I'm missing something. But
Yeah,
I
I'll bring
think
it
the
down
same.
here. Let me.
Pretty
I'll tell you
low
what
in
I'm
the
gonna do.
corner.
I'm gonna play some D1 just really quickly, guys, so I'm not wasting
Yeah.
your time, and then just
Blast
finish
it.
these two all. Yeah.
No
I'm not
wasting my
gonna.
time. It's just past 12 p.m., so I'm good.
I hate this hole.
Really?
Yeah, I find that tree super annoying to like. I stress about it. I stress about editing that tree way too much.
And
I
RB
always put a
said the
little
big,
fade. I put a little fade on it just so I, double stroke.
yeah. RB with a
I
big
find,
curl, you won't worry about it.
yeah, I find you often end up in this weird like in between, you know, and I get that for root, which is what I really want to hit there.
I just do full right curl, no overpower. Sometimes overpower depending on the, but that'll avoid the tree.
I just find that I
Right.
end up too far back, and I'm not where I want to be for root.
Sorry, guys, not the most exciting.
No
It's all
rush.
good, man. All good.
Relax.
Ooh, this one.
Exactly. It's a game. Games are fun. Have fun.
Yeah.
This you can get to a Orion range on this, no problem.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah. I might need
Yeah.
a better ball than. How much is it?
You guys like
4.4.
Orion over Spectre?
No, I think most players just prefer the Spectre again, just from conversations.
Really?
Okay.
Interesting.
If I have to, that's not easy.
I think
I
it's
don't
just
know.
because it's like the ring pole, isn't it?
Well, I mentioned it earlier. The ring pull is definitely a concern, but the rings on the Orion are smaller than, so you're actually pulling less distance than when you're pulling compared to a Spectrum. So like if you're pulling 6
Oh,
rings
okay.
versus like 3 rings, you might actually be pulling less distance with the Orion. Just for context, but
Okay.
I want to see somebody get good with like Iron Eagle. I want to have like an Iron Eagle master on the team.
I think the Iron Eagle. Someone mentioned it. It's like a mini version of the lightning rod.
It's got no topspin, no backspin, but it's got 88% shot view.
Yeah.
I know
And
BF was
1% on
playing
3C.
around with it for a bit. BF was playing around with it for a bit, but then he gave up.
Yeah, no spin. Like it's only got a 50% backspin compared to 90 on Orion.
Ew.
Yeah, you'd have to be up for a challenge just to use it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's why initially I was hopeful that like Rattler would be a thing that I could figure out how to use because it's got the 90% shot view and 80% backspin. Like it's got like everything that it seems to need, but I cannot figure that club out.
But a short iron with a 90% backspin is dangerous. You got to know what you're doing. Or you're
I think that's part
coming
of it
back.
is that but it's not even the spin. Like even on like uphill shots where it's not trying to curl back, or sorry, downhill shots where it's not trying to curl back, where it's just trying to roll out. I just find that I can't judge the secondary wind on it very well. Like I'm missing right, and the next time I hit it, I'm missing left. Like I played like 2 or 3 9-hole events only with Rattler when I first got the bangulator because I was told the numbers in there are deadly accurate for that club. Which I mean I'm sure they are, but I can't figure out the secondary on the Rattler at all.
Drives me
I want it
nuts.
to be good, but I can't make it be good.
Sounds like a lot of ones I'm using.
Okay, so yeah, I took 2 bars of backspin before I put it back, and because of the tailwind, and my measurement is about 87, 88%. So my number is 7.9 rings.
Oh, you guys got a math background. I mean, do you guys like math and all that stuff?
Math? Sorry.
Yeah, mathematics and
Partial.
stuff. I mean, because you just
Oh yeah, I just
I work sheets every day, so yeah, I'm a bit of a
yeah.
oh my God,
yeah. Oh.
I can't impress you guys today. I'm sorry.
Well, at least I don't have to show you how I play.
Yeah, there's only one solution. I'm going in the balcony and I'm gonna take a toke. That's it. I think the next hole is the one that I'm going, guys. I'm going. I'm just gonna show you so you guys don't think I'm completely crazy. But
Uh,
I'm gonna.
I
I'm
thought that
going
was only for
outside.
you.
It's hold on.
Showtime, I
What's the
thought that was
weather
only for
right?
the QME. I thought that was only for the QME you did that.
Oh, what? Oh no. Where's the weather? The weather is -5 right now. So I'm going to go outside. -5 for you guys right now. Just because I want to get a drop here, and there's only one way I can do it. Okay.
Oh, it's -10 up here in Vancouver, man. Come on.
I can't believe that. That's crazy.
Like that. That never happens out west.
Never, no. Once I never been. I don't know, man. We got a foot of snow in the back in the balcony. It's like never happened up here, man.
Yeah.
It's 26 Celsius here.
Fuck
It's what?
off.
Say it again. What?
26 Celsius here.
In the Philippines?
Yeah,
Sweet.
but it's every day, so it's kind of boring.
Nah.
Yeah, you don't want to. You don't want to
Except
live in like.
except when the earthquakes.
Oh, dude. Oh, God.
Is the
Yeah,
sunset pretty consistent?
your asshole puckers up quick.
Is the sunset generally around 6 o'clock all year round, or how does that work?
Pretty much exactly.
Yeah,
And
cool.
sunrise is
Cool.
just, it's like 12 and 12.
Yeah, cool. So Showtime, you'll never lay up the Bigfoot, no?
No, like I said, again, I get my occasional drops and I get close, but it's a chore. It's a frustrating club for me. I don't know why. I just never. Yeah, never. Like the only shot that I feel comfortable with it is headwind. That's it. Like that's the truth.
Yeah, because I use Bigfoot, and then I'm like trucks. I'll pull peg out in a second.
Head to head, Peggy's great, but yeah, no, not in. I need to see the rollout.
Yeah.
Why does it tell me? Two.
Do all those numbers help you with measuring stuff?
No, they're more annoying than anything. But
They
normally,
get in the way.
but I use them to line it up. Then what I do is here, like normally when I play is I yell out random numbers because what happens is the grid turns on in iOS, so I can make sure I'm lined up straight. And then so my kids and my wife think I'm going crazy. And then right before I take my shot, I just don't want to keep doing it in front of you guys. I have it all set up voice command. I know others use like um two. Sorry, I just want to see if this is straight. 2, 11. Come on. It's okay. Okay. Yeah, so I use the voice command. So I'll say something like, "Go to sleep." Go to sleep. See, and then this is then I
Right.
shoot. So because I also find there's a lag when you do have the grid on. because it's a
Yeah.
voice control. So,
Yeah.
guys, I can't make anything today. I'm not impressed. That's not impressive. That one annoys me more than anything.
Well, we've seen all your work, man. We know you can do it. Don't. Sweat it.
Yeah, I've already seen your card. I'm not worried about that. I'm just playing like I am.
So Showtime, you use all those. Is a lot of it just to line up that north to south arrow, or
When you in what context? Sorry.
like this little arrow up to the top left there? Do you use
Mhm.
those grid lines to make sure that's perfect true north?
Yeah, I do. So one of the lines runs in. So hold on, like wake up.
Yeah.
I just wanted to. Well, I want to wake up. So again, everything is under voice command. So
Yeah.
why isn't it turning on? Wake up. There it is. So I use like I would put it like so. Two.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah. See, it's like you can, and if it's those two
Yeah.
little triangles at the bottom are even, then I know.
Oh, okay. Cool.
I mean, okay, I'll lay it up. I won't. You can drive this one. Especially with headwind, I've used like DX and
This
put
is-
forward spin and just and crush it right through the sand onto the green. But I'm not recommending that.
And what job will get you to?
So,
Okay, hold on.
Bogo, you don't use a grid at all.
Pardon me?
Me? No, no. I don't have any. I got a friend. He made me like a material cue, to get a side view of for Bigfoot and the Pegasus and Hellfire. But as far as counting and stuff, it's all just visual for me.
Yeah. Okay. So, maybe just to take a step back on the grid explanation there, Mike. So this is the iOS format, and the only options you have to set a grid are the number of rows and number of columns. And once you've selected that, it produces a grid like this with numbers. The numbers don't mean anything. It's the lines that mean everything in the game.
Oh,
Yes, yes. Sorry, I didn't know that you were talking about in that Sorry, good explanation.
Yeah, and then when he does his calculation and comes up with a number to adjust, maybe just step through that, Mike, and show the line that you're actually following.
Yeah. So Quago, I don't know if you saw. The main thing when I drove to getting into the to this point, it was I wanted to get into the Orion range, so I used the line. So I turned my screen, I turned the shot view sideways, and I lined the flag and the second shot. But I'll get out on the next hole. So once you get here, what I do is I measure the distance as an example of where the max and the min of the shot. But I don't count rings, so that's not something how I learned to play. Just I kind of created my own way. So I use the ball guide at the bottom, what ball you're using, where my minimum is, and then I place my thumb on the side, and then I use my index finger for my left hand to sort of capture where the maximum is. So you can see right there, and then if you place your shot in the where your hole is, you can determine where you are relative to max and min. So like 50%, then probably about 75. So we're somewhere between 50 and 75%.
You're about 70. You're about 70 right now.
Yeah, exactly. Give or take.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I use the guide here as an example. And then I break it this. So if you look at the top, it says min 5.9, 6.8, 7.7. I break
Right.
it down. So if it was 75%, I would shoot somewhere between, 7, because it's 0.9. So I would shoot, maybe 7.2 to 7.3, depending on if there's a little bit of headwind, if it's a little bit of tail, adjust based on that. So in this case, where we know we were below 7, so I would shoot somewhere around, point like 7, even, to be honest, like from my experience again, or what I would pull. But let's line up the shot, and then the way I line up the shot for Orion is for crosswind. I take 1 bar of backspin off. And obviously, for me, most important is just having the shot as straight as possible. first thing, and once I know it's straight, I try to make sure I get it. See, like the tip of the shaft is so faint that I feel like that it would come up short, so I move it up a little bit closer.
Yeah, this green slopes front to back.
You're not gonna believe this, but on Zach's app, I use max constantly. That's the only one I use, the max number. And then,
Well,
like,
yeah.
because I use Bigfoot, whatever it says, I take 0.1 off, and it works
So
for me.
if
You
you're
know,
if you're hitting to the same range every time, then absolutely that's going to work for you every time.
okay, yeah, because I got
where
the
you'll find that doesn't work is if you're hitting a minimum distance Bigfoot, because you'll be off by like 0.7, 0.8.
Oh, okay, because yeah, I got the Bigfoot and the pig line, and so I'm
Yeah.
always
So
hitting to them.
if you're hitting to that same range every time, then you're gonna be closer right on every time.
Okay.
On the guide, I always use the mid number because the mid number changes, the max and mins never.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Well, and you can actually use the use the slider on the right side
Yeah,
to
can you
tell how far you are.
can you just go to the app for a tick?
Yeah, of course. Sorry, go ahead.
Go to the app. See that slide rule on the right hand side? It's at 50%.
Yes, sir.
See if you
Yes.
move that up to 100, it'll go to 77.7. The mid one. See, the mid one is the only one that changes. So
Yes.
at 50% shot,
Yeah, see, I
you'll always
reference.
use that mid number because that's telling you where you should, what your adjustment needs to be based on what point you are in the range. So ignore the max, ignore the min, always go to mid.
Okay, I'll try.
But
Even
Showtime,
if I'm just
you only eyeballed 70%. You didn't bother with the slider. You knew 70% was around whatever it was.
Yeah,
7 point.
yeah, exactly. Like,
Yeah,
it's more about based on my experience than
Yeah.
specifically
it's
to the.
just a different way to skin a cat, right? But
Yeah.
if you are doing the ring count, and you come up with 70%, then you adjust your slide to 70%, and you use the mid number because that's the one that it changes to suit 70%.
wow, because I literally don't know the percentages. I just eyeball everything.
Yeah, I mean that's look out.
There you go.
Guys, we
There
can
you
go to
go.
sleep tonight. No, I'm just joking.
But Showtime, that was four whatever it was, 4.5 rings. But you don't even at a 4% cross, you don't bother with secondary. You just line it up center and boom.
Yeah, so my spiel in the beginning. So I actually pulled 7 rings.
Yeah,
there,
sorry,
so
I missed it.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
yes.
So 7 rings that I count, like they're just again based on my experience and just where I measured with my finger.
Yeah.
But yeah, my whole spiel in the beginning is the reason why I maybe I found so much success with the Orion is because and I've had numerous conversations with people in our old squad. I think Wonka, right? That's you asking, right? Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that the Orion, because of the angle it comes in at, just isn't, and because I always typically have like my full backspin, except for tailwind. Well, even for tailwind, at the end of the day, I still have a full backspin. It behaves less towards secondary. That's my only
Okay.
thought.
Cool.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, no, it
Yeah,
makes
yeah,
perfect sense. Yeah.
So that's but I can't explain it. Like I do have to adjust when you get to like really big elevation changes, and I find that I do have to adjust in Sedgefield a little bit, like or all the holes. I do have to take a little bit off. I find that's where my sweet spot is. Like if I would have measured 7.4 with my fingers, I would pull 7.3 or whatever, like as an
Gotcha.
example.
Yeah.
And then yeah. But yeah, so yeah, I always try to drive to Orion, except obviously unless I can chip it in.
So glad
Okay.
you dropped one.
Yeah, me too. Honestly, guys, I'm gonna sleep better tonight. I'm gonna tell my wife everything's good.
Are you still out in the
See if
cold?
see if you can make 2.5 or two in a ring, and then you can call it a night.
I'll walk off.
Exactly, walk it off.
So Quago, again, I went really quickly there, but if you saw, I turned my screen sideways, the shot view,
Yeah,
and I used my
yeah.
pin. So I had my flag between, let's say, if you're looking at if you see the numbers on my screen, I had my flag stick between 51 and 52, and my goal was to have it land between 58 and 59 to get me in the Orion range. So if you're looking across my screen, so when I look this way, from the top view, you're seeing here, and see how I ended up a little short here, but that's fine. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, because you already got your numbers already in your head. You've done it a million times.
Yeah. Well, most of the time, except today when you're trying to impress.
Yeah, because I do mine sideways. I turn my turn the screen sideways type thing too because of the BF and peg line. So, but I just go right to there and just put it in that location, and that's it.
Yep, and that's going to put you to the same range every time.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
and my game did change. I don't know what it is, but every time you learn something new and you add it to your game, until it was really weird that I never really thought about driving to the same distance until like literally a couple months ago. I feel like it's something that I've been doing more recently than how long I've been playing, I guess is the way I would comment. So yeah, I recommend if you're comfortable with the club, keep hitting it, right? Like that's the idea.
Now for this, can you go back to
Yeah.
the shot there?
Yeah.
So this elevation, what do you reckon that is?
So again, this is where funny how you say it. Like yeah, this is where I would put like almost take off 0.2 rings because it's so high, right? The way I play it. So if I measure this one was almost at max when I took it off. So I'd probably pull. If I go back here, 4.2. Actually, let me refresh that. Sorry, 4.2. So I would pull like 7.9 here, right? Because actually I'm not at max. Sorry, I'm at 7.9. I'd pull 7.7 here because of the elevation. But this one you can it's almost like you have to play it because it's so elevated, right? Like the flag sticks
Yeah.
so much above the avatar. So that's a perfect
So
example. The other thing
let me ask Miyagi, what do you think the elevation changes here? How do you play this?
I use 3%. I use
3%?
3% on this. If I'm using a Bigfoot, right?
Yeah.
I'll triple my offset.
Okay.
Yeah, the other thing is because it's traveling less distance with the Orion, you don't have to, you know what I mean? Like there's less to offset, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So yeah, like 3% might be too much for like the Orion, but you would
Fair
have
enough.
to just for content, like
No,
just
it's gonna play completely differently.
Yeah.
I was gonna say you're the first person I've ever seen use Orion for everything. It's
yeah.
impressive.
great.
I'm just like, wow.
And to great success. Yeah.
So here's like, this is kind of like again more of like experience. I put the shot view in the hole, and the reason why I do that is because it's 4% wind and there's a headwind, so it's gonna really knock it down. So you can see it. And there's a little bit of a headwind
A
so I
little
don't
bit of
need
that one,
this.
yeah.
Yeah, and but with the Orion, it knocks it down, and I don't think I need to set up a little bit back or do one of our boxmen. I don't think there's going to be much of a rollout, but I for my shot to work. Okay, let's see if I'm
Okay.
right. So I said 7.7. So normally I would pull 7.9, but because of the elevation, I'm gonna pull 7.7.
Take a little bit off.
Yeah. So I'm just trying to get it straight. Perfect.
So Quago, he's lining up one of those lines at the bottom of his
Yeah.
set of rings
Yeah.
and
So
figuring.
look at between 56 and 66. There's the line here. So right now I moved it to the top of that white circle. You can see me moving it up and down, hopefully. Ever
Right.
so slightly. That's 8.2 at the top. So that's 8.1, 8, 7.9, Sorry, my screen just decided to wake up. 8. Normally I wouldn't count out loud, so normally that's kind of whoa. Things just went haywire. Let me do that again.
But yeah, just lining up one of those horizontal lines with the edge of a ring, and you kind of know where that landmark is, and then pulling past it and sort of to your target.
Yeah, and ensuring it's all.
measuring
guys-
that way.
You guys remember Jared's ring count video and stuff like that? Is like, you know, to help beginners and all that. You know, put it at the edge of the screen.
Oh. See, I knew the backspin.
That's
It's right there.
That's how I
It's
do
right
it.
there.
Yeah. Like I knew that if I set it up further back, that would have been way more short, I guess. And so I, you know, in hindsight, I wish I took a little bit off maybe half a bar backspin off on that side. But anyways, I rushed a little bit, no excuse. But yeah, anyways, close. So yeah, I think the ring count was correct. I just probably needed to take a little bit of backspin off. It was a little hillier.
That's the beauty of replays.